Well, dear friends, we are here together, and it is a very important time as we begin to enter the calendar year of 2025. And this particular, it's actually a second new moon in Capricorn at the end of 2024, which is called a black moon. But it is a rather auspicious time in that the sun's light is focused intensely at this point on the earth. So as we enter into this year of the conclave, we're going to begin to a process that will involve the use of meditation 5, if you're familiar with it, and begin to bring into our awareness how these themes that we have been working through over the last few years directly connect to our service in the coming year. And by those themes, I mean our study of the new astrology, the science of relationships, and we'll go into more depth, and we'll begin that today with a particular triangle that's important at this time. And we'll expand that into study of the centers this year. And we'll also look at the essential relations we had begun and had paused as we were considering the 5th essential relation, that of the centers above and below the diaphragm. But the first thing that we'll consider today is related to the final group that DK tells us that we need to focus on in our essential relation of soul and personality. And we'll work through the stages of recognition that we practiced with meditation 4. So pause and think through your own relationship with your soul and how that has developed. And currently, how that relationship with the soul is manifesting in your relationship with your family and community. Bringing soul light. Pause and consider how your soul personality relationship is being expressed now in your service of the nation that you were born into. And you might even consider the way in which your presence in this 5th root race, 5th sub-race, is contributing to the eventual awakening of soul consciousness in your nation. And then to recognize how those relationships are activated through your serving group. And today we're going to consider in more depth that final group involving your ashramic affiliation. Ben.
The will to love It is, in other words, the loving intention to fire the entire world with the new idea of the spirit of relationship. This fire is not what you think it is. The will to love means the love of the greater whole and the ability to do that which is needed for the good of the group in the right way and with the needed skill in action. It involves capacity for firm action where need arises, because the disciple has a long-range vision and is not misled by the immediate perspective. He works and prepares for the future.
So we always endeavor to do that which is needed for the good of the group, those groups, family, community, nation, serving group, and to do it with the needed skill in action. We enter into the stage of recognition as we practiced in meditation 4. We recognize our pledged discipleship. We recognize our equipment gratefully rendered. We recognize our achieved alignment. We recognize the soul, the source of love wisdom. We recognize the hierarchy. As we're instructed, we do this very rapidly, holding the consciousness steadily in the mind and not in the head. It presupposes an immediate mental focusing of the disciple at the very beginning of the meditation work. Master DK tells us that an ashram is the state of mind of a spiritual group. It is a point of united thought. It is a center for the clarification of the vision. And not of physical plane methods of work. Next, we enter into the stage of consideration, as in meditation 4. We consider the ashram as a whole, the ashram, the hierarchy, as the ashram of Sanat Kumara. Using the creative imagination, we see all the ashrams in close contact with Shambhala. We see them as responsive to the purpose implemented by the ashrams of the Chauhans, the Manu, the Christ, the Mahachohan. Impressed by the energy of will as the great ashram energizes its component parts, the various ashrams within its periphery of influence, the 7 great ashrams. Vitalizing the initiates and disciples who are affiliated with the masters and working in their ashrams, reaching out through us, through the accepted and pledged disciples into the world of men. Donna.
In the Aquarian age, which is now so near, relatively speaking, there will be an externalization of the inner ashram upon the outer plane. Disciples, initiates, and world disciples will meet for the first time in human history as disciples, recognizing each other and recognizing the master of their group. The inner ashram is a focus of souls, free and unlimited. The outer ashram, under the future Aquarian experiment, will be composed of a focus of personalities and souls. Limitation will, therefore, exist. Responsibility will require conscious recognition, and there will be a necessary slowing down of both action and perception in the outer space-time world.
In the coming weeks, remember to practice this conscious recognition and allow for the slowing down of both action and perception in the outer space-time world. The inner ashram, in the focus of souls, there is freedom. There is a lack of limitation. Ellen.
The true ashram, of which the coming outer ashrams will be but reflections, is not for lower concrete mind discussion. It is a focal point of receptivity. It embraces the effort to establish mutual contact through a united recognition of the vision of the esoteric basis of life and the laws governing action. It is not a place, however, for long and silent meditation processes, for it is a point of tension where together the ageless wisdom in its more esoteric aspects is discussed, where the nature of soul relationship is recognized, and where the fusion of auras and the interblending of the triangles goes forward consciously.
So we begin in this dawning of the Aquarian age to develop the equipment that will allow us to become fully soul conscious. To recognize the nature of that soul relationship and to follow the path of initiation with a new sense of unity and purpose, fusing the auras and becoming part of this interblending of the triangles. A purely subjective process through a united recognition of the vision. Receptivity is required. How do we become receptive? Prepare to receive. Become the recipient. Breathing in the energies of light, love, and power that are becoming more and more available as we tread the path together. Martine.
As disciples learn to integrate themselves into a master ashram, they discover that the first thing they have to do is to establish the basic harmony between themselves and their fellow disciples, and to reinforce the contact between their own souls, the ashramic group, and the master. Then they learn to comprehend, through discussion and experiment, the nature of the energies which are seeking world expressions, and the nature of the forces which must be reduced to powerlessness, if these new incoming energies are to prove effective in bringing about the desired changes under the plan.
We know in our many groups, through discussions and the experiments in service, we are learning the nature of the energies that are seeking world expression. And the nature of these forces which must be reduced to powerlessness. So we meet to establish this basic harmony. We practice and express this harmony whenever we meet together and reinforce the contact between our souls and in our groups with the ashramic group to which we are becoming affiliated and the masters as we learn to comprehend. For those of you who practiced meditation 4, you'll remember that statement. We strive for comprehension. Let the master of my life, the soul, shed light through me on others. So in Meditation 5, Master DK provides this focal point or focal points, which he's putting forth for a year's practice. For those of you who have done Meditation 5, we might suggest accomplishing this in the next 12 weeks. For those who have not worked through Meditation 5, consider the next 12 months, 2025, using this as a structure. He says, as an aid to your concentration and receptivity, I give you 12 words which will be the theme for 12 months' work, and which could, as you gain the power to meditate, relate, receive, and transmit, provide the seed thoughts for 12 years' work instead of 12 months. So consider that. The next 12 years. Words are living things possessing form, soul, and spirit or life. This you should ever bear in mind as you use them to open the door to a month's or a week's realization and inspiration, plus the consequent service. Here are 12 words. Use one each month or week in your daily meditation. The first, recipient. The second, impression. The third, recognition. The fourth, relationship. The fifth, source. The sixth, ashram. The seventh, transmitter. The eighth, expression. The ninth, determination. The 10th, seed. The 11th, idea. The 12th, attachment. You will notice how the meditation now to be outlined, Meditation 5, which we'll go through very shortly, is a natural sequence to the one which presumably you all followed last year, Meditation 4, which focused on recognition and the hierarchy, which is the third word. So as you look at this list, if you have practiced these meditations before, you might consider how the words begin to form new configurations and actually form triangles themselves. And in your practice, your service, thinking of these words as living things, possessing form, soul, and spirit, or life. If you consider yourself the form, the recipient, which word then would relate to soul in this triangle? And which word would relate to spirit? Creating new relationships, receiving, being the recipient of new information, new guidance, that you then in turn can transmit in your relationships to awaken soul consciousness in your groups and in those you serve and serving groups. This is a short form of meditation 5, which is focused on precipitation and reception. In the next 3 days, we'll release 3 particular sections on YouTube covering this meditation in more detail that you can follow as we approach and pass through this new moon of Capricorn and enter into the calendar year of 2025. And consider how you might practice and utilize this particular format in the intensive work that is done at the full moon along the established lines that we've been given, or that you currently practice in your serving groups. So as we prepare for the new moon of Capricorn, let us invoke the sacred triangle of Libra and Gemini as related to Capricorn, and the relations to associate with the initiatory process through Saturn and Venus, involving the first ray, third ray, fifth ray, seventh ray from Libra, Gemini, and Capricorn. And Gemini, Venus, the third ray and fifth ray and the second ray. Work specifically with this triangle. Cancer, leading onto the path of probation, admitting the soul into the world center, which we call humanity. Capricorn, signifying progress on the path of discipleship, admitting the soul into conscious participation in the life of the world center, which we call the hierarchy. And Libra, admitting the soul into the world center, which we call Shambhala, culminating on the path of initiation. Martine.
As a soul, I work in light, proceed slowly and with caution, and darkness cannot touch me. I take my stand within the light, study effects. I work, and from that point, I never move. Cultivate the realization that eternity is long, and that that which is slowly built up endures forever.
Ellen.
Seek to hold the virtues of the second ray and the fifth ray in your consciousness in order to develop the virtue of tolerance and direct that great virtue into the points of greatest need on earth, in groups, in communities, nations, in alliances, in regions, and in humanity as a whole. I see the greatest light governing all the rays. Purpose itself am I. The highest and the lowest meet. 3 minds unite. I am that I am. The virtue of tolerance.
Let us read the virtues of the second ray and the fifth ray and consider those which we may focus on in bringing these energies of Venus in the second and the fifth ray to play upon the groups, the communities, the efforts in which we are actively engaged, bringing calm and a serene temper, patience, endurance, strength, love of truth, faithfulness, intuition, clear intelligence, strictly accurate statements, justice, perseverance, common sense, uprightness, independence, keen intellect, all utilized in every relationship to develop tolerance. So needed at this time. This cosmic quaternary is manifesting these qualities through Venus on Earth. Libra, Gemini, Taurus, and Capricorn. Donna.
Through through Saturn and Venus, Capricorn is connected with Libra and also with Gemini and Taurus. And these four constellations, Taurus, Gemini, Libra, and Capricorn, constitute a potent quaternary of energies, and between them produce those conditions and situations which will enable the initiate to demonstrate his readiness and capacity for initiation. They are called the guardians of the four secrets. Taurus guards the secret of light and confers illumination upon the initiate. Gemini guards the mystery or secret of duality and presents the initiate with a word which leads to the fusion of the greater pairs of opposite. Libra guards the secret of balance, of equilibrium, and finally speaks the word which releases the initiate from the power of the lords of karma. Capricorn guards the secret of the soul itself, and this it reveals to the initiate at the time of the third initiation. This is sometimes called the secret of the hidden glory.
Think of these great constellations through Saturn and Venus as we move through the coming 12 months. and particularly a focal point in Taurus. So we'll map out for ourselves a way to begin to integrate the science of relationships, which Master DK lays out for us as we progress through the coming year, through Taurus, Gemini, Libra, and arriving again at Capricorn at the close of the calendar year. And think of this map that we've followed over the past few years in relation to this science of relations and the triangles and the quaternaries. Those practicing Raja Yoga, progressing through the books, the light of the soul, from instinct to intellect to intuition. As the observer, gathering impressions, looking toward initiations as the manifestation of illumination that is increasing for individuals, groups, and humanity itself. Always the observer. Ellen.
The process of registration, no, the processes of registration are founded upon what I might call invocative approaches from a wide area of possible contexts. The disciple has to learn to distinguish between these many impacts upon the sensitive aura. In the early stages, the majority of them are unconsciously registered, though the registration is acute and accurate. The goal, nevertheless, is conscious registration. This is brought about through the constant and steady holding of the attitude of the observer. It is developed through the attainment of detachment. The detachment of the observer from all desires and longings which concern the separated self. It will therefore be obvious to you that the use of the word observer involves the concept of duality and therefore of separation. In this case, however, the motive prompting observation is not self-interest, but the determination to clarify the aura so that it can register only that which will be illuminating and related to the divine plan, and which will be to the benefit of humanity, and therefore to the creation of a new server within the ashrams of the hierarchy.
We've all experienced the challenges related to attaining this level of detachment. So that the motive for our observation is in no way self-interest, but it's this determination to clarify the aura. Consider for yourself where you find that to be the most challenging. Is there a particular relationship in which this clarifying of the aura and standing as the observer is particularly wrought with challenge? And as we've practiced in our study and work with the glamours, we find ourselves needing to dispel additional illusions and dissipate the glamours that we're now conscious of as we practice this level of selflessness in motive. So in Libra as well as in Capricorn, these rays stream into the planetary life. The third ray, the seventh ray, the fifth ray, and the first ray. And we do have all these rays, each one of us, and we can identify when a particular ray is eliciting a particular glamour or illusion in our relationships. Catherine.
I better pass. The cat's really noisy.
All right. Martine.
A ray confers, through its energy, peculiar physical conditions and determines the quality of the astral emotional nature. It colors the mind-body. It controls the distribution of energy. For the rays are of differing rates of vibration and govern a particular center in the body, differing with each ray, through which that distribution is made. Each ray works through one center primarily, and through the remaining 6 in a specific order. The ray predisposes a human being to certain strengths and weaknesses, and constitutes his or her principle of limitation, as well as endowing us with capacity. It governs the method of our relations to other human types and is responsible for our reactions in form to other forms. It gives us our coloring and quality, our general tone on the 3 planes of the personality, and it molds our physical appearance. Certain attitudes of mind are easy for one type, one ray type, and difficult for another, and hence the changing personality shifts from ray to ray, from life to life, until all the qualities are developed and expressed.
So we consider our rays, but always in the context of the dominant ray of our planetary life, the third ray, the dominant ray of our solar system, the second ray. For those of us living in this time, the dominant ray of the fifth root race, fifth subrace, the dominant ray of our nation in relation to the body through which the nation is currently expressing. Some are given in Destiny of the Nation. For example, the United States demonstrating through its astral, emotional, and personality ray, the sixth ray. All those rays factoring into our experience and the differing rates of vibration and the centers that are governed. We open to those streams of ray force into the hierarchy from Shambhala. These rays, the third, the seventh, the fifth, and the first ray, at this time, streaming into Shambhala and into hierarchy, realizing that on this planet, these are not pure in the sense that the ray energy is pure from the sacred planets. And in group formation, we stream these forces, always with purity of motive, inspired by a loving heart, to offer our service in alignment with the pure streams coming through the sacred planets to Shambhala. Ben.
There is therefore a line of descending energy, which has its origin outside our planetary life altogether. The inflow of this energy, its inevitable effect under cyclic law and its consequences, as they work out upon the physical plane, has produced and is producing all the changes of which mankind is so terribly aware at this time. This swings into immediate conflict, the past and the future. And in this statement I have expressed the deepest esoteric truth which mankind is competent to grasp. It brings into a culminating struggle the Great White Lodge and the Black Lodge, and opens the door to great contending energies, which we can call spirit and matter, spirituality and materialism, or life and death. These words are, in the last analysis, as meaningless as the terms good and evil, which have significance only in the human consciousness and its inherent limitations. These descending energies, as they pass through any of the major levels of consciousness, which we call planes, produce reactions and responses dependent upon the state of the conditioning consciousness. And strange as this may seem to you, and well nigh unintelligible, the effects upon the hierarchy are even more compelling and transmuting than they are upon humanity. I would add also that the point of lowest ascent of the energies has now been reached, and the nature of the present opportunity is therefore changing. These energies have now passed what we might call the turning point and have reached their point of ascension, with all that that phrase implies. As they descend, they produce stimulation. As they ascend, they produce transmutation and abstraction. And the one effect is as unalterable as the other.
The nature of the present opportunity is changing. We have reached the turning point, and these energies are at their point of ascension. We are part of humanity that has been stimulated to ascend, to produce transmutation, and to ever endeavor to higher levels of awareness, greater and expanded planes of abstraction. And in our experience, as the observer, noting reactions and responses that are dependent upon the state of the conditioning consciousness. Much to contemplate. Ellen.
The world situation is simply an embodiment of the reaction and the response by humanity to great paralleling and originating happenings, which involve the following groups: the emanating avatar and his relationship to the Lord of the world, our planetary logos. The Lords of Liberation, focused in their high place, as they become conscious of the invocation of humanity and become more closely related to the three Buddhas of activity. The Great Council at Shambhala and the planetary hierarchy. The Buddha and his arhats, as they unitedly cooperate with the Christ and his disciples, the masters of wisdom. The hierarchy, the embodiment of the fifth kingdom in nature, and its magnetic, attractive rapport with the human kingdom, the fourth. The effect of all these great groups of lives upon humanity and the inherent consequences as they work out in the subhuman kingdoms. A study of the above in terms of forces and energy will give some idea of the underlying synthesis of relationships and the unity of the whole.
Humanity as the recipient. Our groups as recipients. These kingdoms in nature as recipients. And the synthesis of these relationships. The great ashram of synthesis in the council chamber. Meeting in 2025. I am one with my group brothers and sisters, and all that I have is theirs.
I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love of the one soul pour forth to all. May the energy of the one soul lift and aid all. May the thoughts which the soul creates reach and encourage all. May the energy of the divine self be spread abroad in our hearts, through our groups, and throughout the world.
As we consider the ascent to higher levels of abstraction, and then the descent, as the energies from this great triangle of Cancer, Capricorn, and Libra on the cosmic level enters into this great triangle of the avatar of synthesis, the spirit of peace and equilibrium, and the Lord of Light, the Buddha, into the great triangle of Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity. As a consequence of all this, great and fundamental readjustments are going on within the hierarchy itself and within that intervening area of the divine consciousness to which we give the name, as far as humanity is concerned, of the spiritual triad. Fundamental and great readjustments going on within the hierarchy and the spiritual triad, an area covered by the higher mental planes, the Buddhic and the Atmic levels of awareness and of divine activity. The Lord of Light, the Buddha, bringing the third aspect of understanding, the spirit of peace and equilibrium, bringing the second aspect of the will to love, inclusiveness, and the avatar of synthesis, bringing the first aspect, identification. So what does this mean for us? When the service rendered is based upon a mental response to humanity's need, then the whole problem is lifted out of the veil of illusion and out of the valley of the world glamour. Then the impulses to serve are registered in the heart center and not in the solar plexus. And when this is more generally the case, then we shall have a happier and a more successful demonstration of service. So this is the foundation of our effort and our service to dissipate glamour as individuals, as groups in group formation, and then as we move into 25, continuing in that work as we will to begin to address world glamour. We've studied in the months as we've led up to this point to look at illusion, ideas, and ideals in relation to the illusions that we need to address. This is the foundational piece and why we use the triangles and the superimposed triangles now in our work, very much moving forward into 2025. And we'll incorporate that in our work with the meditation 5, bringing it together in a new way so that we can be the recipient of the higher energies and move forward, registering in the heart center of humanity, hierarchy, being the heart center of our planetary logos. There's a beautiful meditation that was given to us and given as part of the 2025 initiative a year ago. And for those of you who would like to stay and actually do the meditation, it's about 20 minutes, about 18 minutes, and it's led by Alice, who is a member of the Arcane School. If you do not have time today, I would recommend it's posted on YouTube. It's a beautiful meditation leading us into the silence that is required to really become recipients of these higher energies. So with gratitude for your participation, it's quite all right if you need to move on to another activity today, but we will move through this meditation together as a way of closing this particular time together, unifying these concepts and trying to bring together the main themes of our studies of the last few years as we lift off into 2025 with our continuing work with glamour, our study of the essential relations and getting more in depth in terms of the centers, incorporating this as we move forward together so that At the time of the Wesak, we will begin using meditation 6. And let us constantly and with the greatest and highest motive, the motive of the heart, to bring soul consciousness into the hearts of humanity. Gratitude for your being with us today as we're trying to bring all of this together and unite our serving groups in a way as never before.
Let us breathe consciously, inhaling and exhaling, feeling life and love pervading our cells. We take humanity with us in this conscious inflow and outflow of life and love. And we take humanity with us in this inflow and outflow of life and love, because as affirmed in the noontime recollection, we know, O Lord of life and love, about the need. Touch our hearts anew with love, that we too may love and give. This breathing process is intended to meet humanity's needs, allowing the relaxation and well-being of the physical bodies. Allowing the purification and transmutation of the emotions, and also the clearness of the mental vehicles. Raising the focus into the realm of the soul, the way to intuition and to illumination. Those who breathe consciously live consciously, as breath is the principle of life. A principle of inclusiveness and cooperation. And in true cooperation, we sound together the mantra of unification. The souls of all are one, and we are one with them. We seek to love, not hate. We seek to serve and not exact service. We seek to heal, not hurt. Let pain bring due reward of light and love. Let the soul control the outer form and life and all events, and bring to light the love that underlies the happenings of the time. Let vision come and insight. Let the future stand revealed. Let inner union demonstrate and outer cleavages be gone. Let love prevail. Let all people love. Silence. Only through silence can we truly listen. Listen to its voice, which is the voice of the soul. It is interesting to note that both words, silent and listen, share the same letters. This could be considered a sign of a needed fusion between both. Due to the constant outer noise of our societies, it is most needed the ability to find a place within ourselves, a place to be, to think, to receive, and to distribute what pours from above. This is a much needed service of being an example, of showing to every human being what can be accomplished through silence, so that humanity can discover the true power within. Listen to the silent voice. Let us now take a couple of minutes to ponder on a seed thought about the importance of silence. From the book Heart, Sloka 401. At times, it is so necessary to unify through silence. Nothing influences the heart so much as intense silence. At times, it is so necessary to unify through silence. Nothing influences the heart so much as intense silence. The symbol for Capricorn is the mountain, which has symbolically to be climbed in due time by every human being on his or her way back to divinity. This climbing represents initiation, being every initiation a raise in consciousness. On climbing the mountain, due preparation is needed. Non-essentials must be left behind, for they are too heavy to carry. The breathing process must be taken increasingly in account the further we go up, and this compels the one who climbs to focus on the present moment. Focus and concentration, allied with determination, are crucial to achieve the goal, the top of the mountain with its light supernal. Silence is a partner on the way up, and most definitely on the top of the mountain, where all is silence. As a group, at the top of the mountain, let us now take another moment of meaningful silence to listen to the voice of our group soul, and through the intuition to perceive our next step ahead as climbers performing a divine task. And now, through the sounding of the great invocation, we support all our brothers and sisters on their own way up the mountain, providing help and encouragement through the downpouring of light, love, and divine purpose. The Great Invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om. Om. Om.
We offer our group chalice in service as the group receives, becoming the recipient, and distributes the energies accumulated during this time of the new moon of Capricorn and moving forward to the new moon, from the new moon to the full moon, in all of our groups, according to need.